The posse had enjoyed the downtime and sense of peace Seraphin had offered. The prices were high, but the group managed to get the needed supplies for their next adventure. Overhearing of a mine just outside of town that had been abandoned in a hurry, and with a big payout possible, it seemed that adventure was indeed upon them. Entering the mine was entirely too easy. Was this a setup? All hell was about to turn loose.
Hello and welcome back to Crawling with Dungeons. I'm Rob. Today we are going to be following again with our posse of the Bandito, the Frontier Doc, the Gambler, and their allies, the Pack Mule, Packy, the Frontier Deputy, Deputy Colt, and the Faithful Dog, who is yet to have a name. So this mission is going to be Last Stand, and it is the third mission in the City of Ancients mission series. Trapped in the mines, enemies pour in from all sides. You have but one choice. Fight. Fight for your lives. There's no escape, only victory or death. Things have never looked quite this grim before, but there is no time to think about it now. Here they come! The setup for this mission has a fixed map layout, as you can see here. I have set that up as best I can. The entire board should be constructed during... Okay, we've got that done. Enemy entry points on the board are possible entry points for enemies to arrive throughout the game. Alright, so we got one here, one there, one here, and one here. You will also need 3 lantern markers. We have those there. And several markers for the enemies approaching. We're just going to use these here to indicate enemies approaching. Heroes should place the lantern markers as described in the placing lantern special rule below. For this mission, there is no old lantern card. The lantern markers are used instead. Each hero may start anywhere they choose on the board. Heroes at the start of the adventure with grit equal to their max grit. Okay, so the max grit for the Bandito is going to be a 3. The max grit for the Gambler is a 2, and the max grit for the Frontier Doc is a 4. After the heroes are placed, roll a d6 for each of the 4 entry points on the board. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, draw a low threat card and place those enemies just off the board near the entry point. The enemies will move onto the board and attack at the initiative level during the first turn of the game. Okay, the goal is to survive. The heroes must defeat enough enemies to break the assault, and then kill remaining enemies. At the start of the game, the heroes may place a number of lantern markers onto individual map tiles. The lantern markers cannot be interacted with in any way and considered to be in any particular space. A lantern marker is on the entire map tile. Each lantern marker lights up the map tile it is placed on, as well as every adjacent map tile, just like the old lantern card. Desperation. The heroes are truly desperate. Any hero that has no enemies on the map tile may give up their attack and do one of the following actions instead. Scavenge. Ready a once per fight item. Recover a grit or catch your breath. Heal D3. Unlimited scavenging. Each map tile on the board may be scavenged any number of times. Enemy entry points. There are a number of entry points. There are 4 of them. There are no doors and may not be looked through by the hero. At the end of each turn, roll a d6 for each entry point. If a 1 or a 2 is rolled, or only a 1 if there is a hero on the same map tile with the entry point, place an enemy's approaching marker at the entry point. You can see enemies coming, but you can't tell what they are yet. If there's already enemies approaching marker at the entry point, instead remove the marker and draw a low threat card. Enemies on the card are placed just off the board near the entry point as they have arrived and are ready to move on the board. Note that enemies that move 0 move, just like such as corpse piles, will not take part because they cannot move to enter the board. Enemies that are not on the board yet may not be targeted or attacked in any way. The enemies will activate as normal when it comes to their initiative in the turn order and will simply move onto the board from the entry point, starting their move on one of the puzzle cut half spaces. May not flee. Once the adventure begins, the heroes may not flee. They're trapped and must see the mission through to the end. Immediate dread. For this mission, growing dread cards are revealed immediately when drawn rather than being placed on the stack. Number of heroes. For this mission, if you're using 1 or 2 heroes, which we're not, at the start of the game, threat cards only draw for each entry point on a roll of 1 instead of 1, 2, or 3. If you're using 5 or 6 heroes, the threat cards are medium threats instead of low. So we are neither of those, so we're going to be doing a 1, 2, and 3. Objectives, depth track, defeat enough enemies. Because there is no exploration on this mission, the hero and posse marker on the depth track is used a bit differently than normal. Instead of marking how deep into the mine the heroes have traveled, it marks how much of an enemy assault the heroes have defeated. The hero posse marker starts the game on the mine entrance as normal. For every full 3 enemies the hero kill, move the posse marker down 1 step on the track. For each larger, bigger enemy the heroes kill, instead move the hero posse 2 steps on the track. When the heroes make the whole back the darkness test each turn, if the roll is equal to or higher than the current position of the hero posse marker on the depth track, the assault is broken. All enemy approaching markers are removed and no more enemies will arrive at the entry points. The heroes must now kill all the remaining enemies on the board to successfully complete the mission, including any that might still show up through darkness cards, etc. The darkness marker on the depth track works as normal in this mission. Reward. If the heroes successfully break the assault and defeat the enemies, each hero may draw 5 loot cards. This is instead of a loot card for each grouping of enemies individually. Shuffle the loot deck before each hero's draw. Any heroes that are not KO'd at the end of the mission also gain D6 times 25 XP each. Failure. All KO'd heroes must roll in the injury or madness table as normal. If the darkness escapes, any heroes not KO'd must still roll in the injury or madness table. Alright, so to begin, we are going to roll for each of the entry points. It is a D6 for each entry point. So we will start up here. Okay, so there is an enemy coming there. Over here. Oh, wait. Sorry. We have to place our characters. I'll re-roll that until I place the character. So we're going to put a lantern here. That should give this, and this a light. Then we will put a lantern here. This, and this, and then a lantern. Oh boy, a lantern here. This, and this, a light. So the only tiles we're not covering are this one and this one. Okay, so now we're gonna place our heroes. I think what we're going to do here is place them. We're going to place them down. No, we're going to place them right here. Right here. Back mule. Back here. Frontier deputy. Gambler. Bandito. And the faithful dog. Okay, now we're gonna roll. All right, let's start here again. Okay, so 1, yes, there is an enemy there. And what happens? We draw a low threat card. Roll a 1, 2, 3. Draw a low threat card. All right, so this low threat is 1 slasher. Okay. For this door here, it's a 2, so that is a low threat card. This low threat is Peril Die of Lost Army +1. We're going to do this entrance here. It's a 2. Okay, we are pulling them all. Peril Die of Hungry Dead. And 1 corpse pile. So we can't add the corpse pile, but we can do the Hungry Dead. And then finally, this one is nothing. Enemy entry points. At the end of each turn, roll a d6 for each entry point if a 1 or 2 is rolled, or 1 if there's a hero in the same tile. Place an enemy's approaching marker. Okay, so we do that afterwards. All right, so let's figure out the amount of Lost Army. And it's 3. 3 Lost Army. We got 1 slasher, and I believe it's Peril Die of Hungry Dead. So 4 Hungry Dead. All right, so we're gonna put that to the side, and then we're gonna find our cards for their initiatives. Okay, the slasher's initiative is 4. Hungry Dead is a 1. And then the Lost Army is a 2. Okay. Fair enough. All right, so our posse contains a couple of members that go before these guys, so or at least before the slasher. All right, so the gambler will actually, we're going to roll to hold back the darkness, and we rolled a double 5. Now, due to events of the last mission, things are going to change in regards to rolling doubles on the event track. We got the Blood Moon travel hazard. All right, so until the end of the next adventure, all heroes are +1 spirit. Any depth event rolled, draw a Growing Dread card instead. So we're going to pull a Growing Dread card. And then, what are the rules for this mission for the Growing Dread cards? Immediate Dread. All right. For this mission, all cards are revealed immediately when drawn rather than being placed on the stack. So what we're going to do is everybody's going to use a grit and get rid of this Growing Dread card. Don't even want to look at it. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, so the gambler's going to roll to move. Get a 6. So he is just going to stay where he is. Right. It kind of stinks because we don't have any creatures on the board yet, so he's kind of wasting his turn. All right, so we're going to skip the gambler, skip the dog, and then we are moving on to the slasher. Now the slasher is initiative 4, just like the Frontier Dock, and its movement is a 5. So it's going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it is going towards the party. It has no ranged attack, so that is it. The Frontier Dock is going to roll to move. She got a 6. She's going to hang tight. And then we're going to go with the Bandito. He's going to roll to move. Got a 6. Okay, he's going to hang tight. And then the Lost Army is the next to go. So they're going to come onto the board. 1, 2. And they're going to figure out who they're going to shoot. Now they have Fear 2, which doesn't apply here. Battle line, well in formation, the Lost Army model is Armor 5. May only retreat may only makes retreat move on a 6 instead of 4, 5, or 6. Hell Musket Volley, ranged attack, range 10. Asterisk shots, damage 1. Shots equal to the number of Lost Army soldier in line of sight to the target. Okay. So now we are going to use our markers for our posse here. Give everybody a number for the targeting. Okay. So, right. 4, 5, 6, 2, 1, and 3. We'll just use different markers for the oncoming enemies. All right, so the first guy is going to roll to see who he's attacking. And it is 2. He is attacking the frontier dock. Okay. She's got 1 on her. And then we're going to roll again. 4 is the dog. And then I'm going to re-roll that. 2 is frontier dock again. I'm going to re-roll that. And 1 is the bandito. Oh, you know what I could have done? No, she was going to recover a grit because of the desperation special rule. Okay, so she's going to recover a grit, and so is the... they're all going to recover a grit because they didn't move. They didn't do anything. But they did cancel that darkness card because of the roll. All right, so now they have enemies on the board. Now they're going to be shot at. All right, so each one of these guys takes 3 shots at each individual character that they're aiming at. All right, so the first guy is going to be aiming at the... Oh, wait, did we figure out who number 1 was? Yes, Bandito. All right, sorry. The Bandito. Right. Okay. So, that's 2 hits to the Bandito. And he's going to roll his defensive rolls. All right, so he defended 1 and took 1. All right, so he took damage. All right, and then the second guy is attacking the frontier dock. Ooh, boy, 3 hits. Whew. Okay, she's going to defend. She defends 1 of those, so she's going to take 2 damage. It stinks. And then the last soldier is attacking the dog. And he hits on a 5 up. So that's 2 hits. And the dog will defend. 2 6s. Dog is wily. All right. You know what? That's what we're calling the dog. Wily. The dog is wily. Because this is the second game and he is hard to hit. Wily the dog. All right. So we came up with a name. I like it. All right, so that is those guys. Now we are going to go with the Frontier Deputy. His shotgun is a range of 4 with 2 shots and D8 for hits and damage. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's going to move up 1. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he can hit 2 guys just in case. All right, so we're going to roll the hit. Okay, so we got a 7 and a 5. All right, so that's 2 hits. Yes. So we're going to use... we're going to roll to see if... first of all, we're going to do the... We're going to do the damage roll first, and then we'll do the armor roll for them. All right, so 7. The first one is a 7. 7 damage. All right, so he's going to do his armor roll. And he got it, of course. And then the second hit is a 1. So that's not going to do anything. All right, so it's a good try. Yeah, because they have this battle line. While in formation, the Lost Army is armor 5. Okay. And then that is the last member of the posse that has to go. Besides the pack mule, he is going to move up 1. And then now the Hungry Dead are going to move up. So they have a move of 2. Probably good that they are where they're at. All right. And then that should be the end of the turn. Yes. Okay. So now we're going to roll. Since it's the end of the turn, now we're going to roll a d6, and we're looking for 1s and 2s to not have. We do not want 1s and 2s. At the end of each turn, roll a d6 for each entry point. If a 1 or 2 is rolled, or a 1 if the hero is on the board, place enemies approaching marker at the entry point. You can see them coming, but you can't see what they are yet. All right, so we will start over here. And of course, there is an enemy approaching. I'm just going to use this marker. Over there is a 4, so that's none. Over here is a 1, so more enemies coming this way. And then finally over here is a 3, so nothing coming this way. All right. So we're going to draw a low threat for here and a low threat for here. All right, so we will roll to hold back the darkness. We got a 9, so we did hold back the darkness with nothing else happening. Okay, so we're going to turn these over and see what we get. So here we have 1 slasher and a peril dice of Hellbats. All right, so let's do the peril dice of Hellbats. Okay, so there's 3 Hellbats and another slasher. All right, so we need the Hellbat card. Okay, so they are initiative 6, so they're going to go first in this fight. They fly, so Hellbats may move through other models and change targets each turn. So they are going to go first. So, and they're going to move a total of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. Not good. So 3 Hellbats. Okay, and then the Gambler is going to roll to move. So we got a 3. Oh, we need to figure out what's over here. D3 plus 1 Scaffer Gang Henchman. Okay. This is getting crazy quickly. I have yet to kill anybody. The posse is wondering how the hell did they get into this situation. Got some bad intelligence or something. All right, so Scafford Highwayman. Got, how many do we need? We need D3 plus 1. All right. So of course it's 4. And they're initiative 4. Okay. Grab these guys. So they're going to be off to the side here. All right, so the Gambler is going to roll to move. He got a 3, so he's going to shoot with his 7 shots from all his. Now, Hellbat is a demon. He's got an extra damage on his quick draw pistol for demons and undead. Okay, let's see. All right, so he's going to roll 7 shots from his pistols. Now, he can't get... is he going to shoot at the Hellbats because he can get that extra damage? Hellbats are defense 2. If he can take all of those guys out. All right, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So the quick draw pistol is a 2-shot. And then we've got the regular pistol, and then the shots for the undead gunfighter pistol, falling gunfighter pistol. All right, so he's going to take a shot at the Hellbats. Okay, wow. All right. Gosh, that's a lot of good hits. Damn, I wish he could get crits. Okay, so each of the 6s is going to do an extra point of damage because of his poker face ability. Nope, because of his high roller ability. Okay, so each of these is going to do an extra point of damage. This one is also going to do another extra point of damage because of the demon keyword on the bogbats, or the hellbats. All right, so let's roll our 2 regular hits. Okay, so we got a 5 and a 2. The 2 does nothing. The 5 goes through here and kills this bat. All right, and then we're going to use the 6 to go after that one. So that's 1, 2, 3 because it's 2 extra damage. So he takes this hellbat out as well. Their defense is 2, but he did 3 damage altogether. And then we're going to take this 6, and we did 4, so that's definitely over the damage. All right, so for every 3, we get to move up 1 space on the chart. So he got, the Hellbats are 10 XP apiece. So you got 30 XP for that. A lot to keep track of in this particular mission. Okay, so you got 30 XP for that. And then he still has 1 more shot. Right, because that was 1, 2, 3. No, he has 2 more shots with +1 damage. And he's gonna fire at the, use those 2 shots going ahead. All right, so 6 damage +1 to one of those guys, and 5 damage +1. So that's 7 damage here and 6 damage here. So let's roll their armor rolls. All right, so neither of them passed. So this guy takes 7 damage. His defense is a 4. So that's going to take one of these guys out completely. All right, and then the 6 is going to take 4 off of that. So that's going to put him at 2 damage. Okay. And that is going to give him how much XP? That's going to give him 30 XP for that particular kill. Okay. All right, so he's done there. Okay, so that's initiative 6. The Hellbats have gone. They've been destroyed. He's gone, initiative 6. So initiative 5, initiative 4. So the dog is initiative 5, but the dog is just going to stay where it is, I think. Yeah. All right, so the dog is going to stay where it is. Initiative 4 is going to be the slasher, and it goes, and the highwayman. And the slasher is going to go, how far? I believe it's 5, but now I can't find the card. Yes, so he is going to move 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then there's another slasher, right? Right. Oh, yes. There's another slasher. All right, and the slashers are large creatures, so they move these guys out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And then The Frontier Dock is going to go. No, the Scafford guys go. They move 5. So they're going to move on to the board. 1, 2, 3, 5. Right. Make sure that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. And they are a range attack. Their range is 4 shots. They have the shotgun. Ranged attacks, 4 shots. Range 4, 1 shot, P damage, or peril dice of damage. Running guns, when making a ranged attack, this enemy rolls its full shots against the target and every other hero adjacent to the target. Robbers, a hero loses $5 for every wound they take from the enemy's combat hits. Heavy Dusters, armor 5 up, and Slithering Tentacles. Unless killed, this model heals 1 wound at the end of every attack that damaged it, or had at least 1 hit assigned to it. Great. Okay. Alright, so they are not within range, obviously. They're getting there. Alright, so now the Frontier Dock is going to go. She is going to fire her pistol. So it's 2 shots. Okay, so she got a critical hit. So she's going to fire at that guy right there. And that's a 2, so that'd be enough to take him out, but he's going to roll his armor, and he got a 4, so that does not help him. He gets taken out by the Frontier Dock. She's going to grab 30 XP for that. And then wait, she didn't roll to move. She got a 4. She's going to stay where she is. So that's all she's going to do currently. Now we've got initiative 3, which is the Bandito. And he is going to roll to move. So he got a 2, so he's at max grit, so he's gonna roll again. 6. He's gonna run up on this guy. 2, 3, 4, 5. And attack with his hunting knives. Okay, so you got a 6 and a 5, so the 6 is a crit. Alright, so we'll do the damage for the crit. Of course, 1. And then the damage for the regular hit is a 6. Alright, so we'll do the armor for the 1. He missed that, so he took 1. And then the armor for the 6, he missed again. Actually, no, he does not get that armor save because he is not in formation anymore. There's just 1 guy. Alright, so he's going to take that guy out. He only has 3 health. So that is going to net him 30 XP. Okay. Good deal. Alright, and then we're going to go with the Frontier Deputy. Can he range 4 with his shotgun? And he can move 4. Right, he can move 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that's not enough there, but he is gonna set himself up. 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so he's gonna set himself up right there. Okay. And then the dog will move here. Pack Mule is going to move into the room. We got rid of 3 more bad guys. We can move this up again. Oh yeah, and at the end of the turn, Right, we got to roll to see if we get equal to or higher, but you can't get a 14 on 2d6. So I think we're just stuck for right now. Oh, when they make the whole back the darkness test. All right, so the Hungry Dead are going to go. These guys here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And then we're going to roll to see if we have any enemies coming in at any of these places. So for here, it's a 1. Okay, so no. So 1 or 2 here. Nope. 1 or 2 over here. Nope. And then finally 1 or 2 over there. Yes. All right, so we have another enemy there. And this is going to be 1 Night Terror and Paradise of Stranglers. Oof, boy. All right, so let's see how many of what we have. Where is the Paradise? Okay, so the Paradise is a 4. So we got 1 Night Terror and 4 Stranglers. Okay, so these guys are going to be off to the side here. This is not good. Okay, so they're not coming on yet, but we got to pull out their cards. See what their initiatives are. The Night Terror is an initiative 3, and the Stranglers are initiative 4. So the Gambler is going to go first. He's going to roll to move. Get a 2. So he is going to go 1, 2. All right, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 away. I'm sorry, 6 away. All right, so I believe the only thing he can't hit with is the holdout pistol that he has. All right, so he's got 7 shots. The Slasher is a beast. It is not a demon, so you can't get any extra damage from that. Okay, 5, 6, 7. All right, and then I believe the range on all of my pistols is at least 6. So, okay, so he is gonna use a grit and re-roll those fails. Oh wow! Holy moly, that's not good. All right, so you got you got 3 hits basically, and this one does 1 extra damage. All right, so we'll do those separately. So the first one is a 1 that does nothing. The second one is a 4. The defense on the Slashers is a 4, so that does nothing. And then finally, the one with the extra damage is also a 4 and does nothing. Okay, fair enough. So now we move to initiative 4. So you're going to be Slashers here. Let's move this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this Slasher is going to go 4, 5. Can't quite get there yet, thank goodness. Okay, and then the Scaffer Gang guys, they move. Scaffold Highwaymen move 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they still can't fire. The range is a 4. Getting lucky with that. Okay, so now we've got the Frontier Doc. She is going to roll to move. Okay, so she got 4. Now, her collection jar allows her put a marker here each time you encounter a different specific enemy type during the current adventure. All right, so she encountered 2 specific enemy types so far. And then she can add to damage. Actually, the Slasher and the Hungry Dead and the Scafford are all Slasher, Hungry Dead, Scafford. So it's a total of 5 so far. Oh, and the Night Terror. So, oh, they're not on the board yet. They're not on the board yet. They should be though. The Stranglers at least should be. And they move a total of 6. 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay. He moves it at 3, initiative 3. Okay, so right, so Slashers, Lost Army, Hellbats, Hungry Dead, Stranglers, Scafford, Highwayman. Now, has she encountered the Scafford Highwayman yet? I don't believe so. She's done Hellbats, she's done Stranglers, Bandits, Lost Army. Yep. Okay, so no to the Scafford Highwayman. Okay, so she's going to get 50 XP for that. All right, and then she is going to, she rolled a 4. She is going to move 1, 2, 3. Stand right there. She could move. Yeah, she can't get there yet. Okay, so she's going to stand right there and fire her pistols. She's got a 5 and a 4, so she hit once. All right. Oops. She's got a 6 on the Strangler, and the Strangler's defense is a 4. I'm sorry, the Slasher defense is a 4, so that's going to be 2 damage. And then this says once per adventure, remove all markers here to add 1 of your hits to do +1 damage for each marker removed. So once per adventure. All right, his health is a 6, so she's doing 4. She's going to go ahead and remove all the markers and kill this Strangler. Might as well use it all now. All right, so that is going to move this up 2 times. All right, so that's a 12. So conceivably, it could be over. So she's going to get a total of 45 XP for that. And she gonna do, what is she gonna do? She doesn't need to heal anybody yet. Okay, so she's fine. All right, so let's move these out of the way. Now that is 4, so down to 3, and I believe the Night Terror is a 3, and he's gonna move 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's a large critter. Let me make sure that's right as far as the thing moving forward to large creatures. Pretty sure it's 2 steps for a large creature. Okay, and then the Bandito is going to go. He's going to roll to move. 5. 2, 3. He's just going to stop right there. The mule is going to move back here. And the dog is going to move right there. He's going to stay where he is. Okay. All right, so rolling to see if we get any critters. Over here is a 3, so no. Over here is a 3, so no. Over there is a 5, so no. Over here is a 3, so no. All right, so we're just dealing with the creatures we have on the board currently. All right, so roll to hold back the darkness. Oh, double 2s. That's not good. Growing Dread card again. Okay, we're all going to use a grit. 2, 3 grit to cancel that Growing Dread card. Again, just don't even want to deal with it. Okay, and then the Gambler is going to roll to move. Get a 6. Nobody's on his tile, either tile nobody's on. So he's going to recover a grit. Don't think he can hit these guys. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, he can't hit those guys. So he's just going to recover a grit for the desperation rule. Okay. Then that's initiative 6. Initiative 5 is the dog. The dog is going to stay where he's at. So we move to initiative 4. That means the slasher moves. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Scaffer gang will move. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. And up behind them. Now they do have range. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so they have a range to the Frontier Dock and the Gambler. All right, so they are going to decide where they're going to go with this. All right, Highwayman, shotgun, range attack, 4 range, 1 shot. Damage is peril dice. They use a D8 to hit. Run and gun. Okay. When making range attack, enemy rolls, it's full shots against the target and every other hero adjacent to the target. Okay. All right. So we've got this guy can only shoot at the Gambler, so that's how he's going to shoot at. So he hits, and then he's going to hit both the Frontier Dock and the Gambler. So, no, I'm sorry. He's got to roll this. He does not hit. Okay, he does not hit. All right, so that shot goes wide. All right, so this one's going to be 1, 2, 3. It's the Gambler. All right, so it's the Gambler, and then 1 on the Frontier Dock, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 2 on the Gambler and 1 on the Frontier Dock. All right, so the first one on the Gambler is an 8, so that's definitely a hit. All right, so and that is 1 shot. So we got to roll defense for. We'll do it for the Gambler first. You got a 4, so he defended, and then the Frontier Dock, she got a 5. She defended. Okay, so the next guy is going after the Gambler. Got a 6, definitely hit. All right, so the Gambler is going to roll defense. You get a 6, and then the Frontier Dock, she got a 6. Okay, wow. All right, so Scafford guy, last one, hitting the Frontier Dock, he got a 2, so he did not hit. Okay, let's make sure we did that right, because that seems crazy. All right, so uses a D8 to hit. We did that. Making a ranged attack, this enemy rolls its full shots against the target and every other hero adjacent. All right, so they only had one shot. Okay, that's it. All right, so initiative 4, the slasher. Wait, did the slasher? Yeah, I think the slasher can attack. Yes. All right, so the slasher is going to move in here and attack the bandito. Actually, no, he's gonna roll to see who he attacks. All right. So he's going after the dog. That's terrible. Come on, Wiley, you got this. All right, so he's gonna roll. Let's see, chit and plating, critical hits. Only reduce him to blah, blah, blah. All right, so he's got 2 combat dice and does a d6 damage each. Needs 3 to hit. Oh boy. All right, come on, Wiley. Okay, so Wiley missed both of those. All right, so the first damage is a 6. That's not good. And then the next damage is a 1. So that's 7 damage to Wiley. Oh, that poor puppy. Okay, so Wiley is hurt. Bastards. He's got 8 health, but he is really struggling right now. Alright, so that slasher's gone, and then the stranglers are going to move up their 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. 6. And then 6. Okay, that's all they can do. And then the dog is going to attack back to the strangler. All right, let's see what happens here. Dog's got 1 combat dice. Bark. All adjacent enemies do -1 damage with their attacks to a minimum of 1. Oh wait, he only took. Let's see, each attack. Right, so he take 2 less. Right, because of his bark. All adjacent enemies do -1 damage there with their attacks to a minimum of 1. All right, so okay, that's better. All right, so that's good. Okay, so the bandito is going to go. He's going to roll to move. Get a 2, so that gives him an extra grit, but can't use it anyway. So he's just going to move up and attack with his combat knives. All right, so he missed these 2, but he can re-roll those. Okay, so that's a 4 and a 4, and he's going to use one of his grit to re-roll that, and he still got a 1. All right, awesome. Okay, so he's going to roll to damage. Okay, 2 3s. He's going to use another grit to try to get some better damage. Maybe we can get something better. Come on. Okay, you got a 6 and a 2. All right, so the 6 is going to do 2 damage to the strangler. Right. Probably should not have done that, but okay. All right, so he did 2 damage, so he's going to get 15 plus 10. He's going to get 25 XP for that attack. And then he is going to what? Nothing yet. Okay. All right, so no, he's going to use a bandage on the dog. 1 health off the dog. Okay, well, you know what? It was a hasty job. It was couldn't be helped. All right, so he got rid of his bandage. Okay, and then it is the Hungry Dead's turn. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. And then it is. Oh shit! I should have gone with this guy. 2, 3, 5. All right, he couldn't attack anyway. Boy, we need some dynamite down that hallway. Okay. All right, so the Frontier Deputy is going to move up here and fire. You know what, though? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. He's going to take his 2 shots. And he rolls a d8 for his shots. Right. All right, so we got a 5 and a 7, so that's 2 hits. So the first hit does 3. And we are shooting at the Scafford Highwayman, and that is only going to do nothing. And then the second shot does 4, and that is going to do 1 damage, but they have an armor of 5. Okay, and that does nothing. All right, and so that is only the mule's turn left. He's going to stay where he is. All right, so now we're going to roll again to see if we get any more oncoming enemies for there. Okay, yes, we do. So we're going to roll something there for that door. Yes, we do. And then for this one? Nope. And this one. Nope. Okay, did we kill? No, we didn't kill anything that turn, so it doesn't move up any. All right, so we're gonna roll to hold back the darkness. All right, we got double 6s, but that does not allow us to do our event based on the blood moon. So we roll Growing Dread. And we cannot cancel this Growing Dread. Move the darkness 1 step forward on the depth track. Fair enough. Okay. So that has been played. We'll put that right there. All right, so let's see what we got here. Wandering Enemy. Draw a world card to see where the enemy is from. Then draw another world card from that world. Okay? So, let's do that. All right, so we've got... All right, so let's see what we get. The mines. Okay, so we just draw another one from the mines. Okay, tentacles. P tentacles. All right, so that's going to show up there. Those tentacles are going to show up right there. All right, those world cards can go back. Okay, this one is same thing, P tentacles, and then this one, no, there was just the 2. All right, so peril dice worth of tentacles over here is 4. All right, so we need to draw some tentacles, and they can move 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Your initiative is 2. 2, 3, 4. Now I have a bounty on tentacles. Not that we'll live long enough. And 4 tentacles over here. All right. So, now the gambler is going to roll to move. Got 5. So he is going to simply shoot and try to get these guys out of here. These silly guys with their armor saves. It's 5, 6, 7. Right? Okay, good. Okay, wow, he hit with all of those. And you got 2 6s there, so those are going to be 2 damage plus 2 damage. All right, so for the first shot, it's a 6. So that's going to be on that first guy right there. So their defense is a 3, so he's got to roll his armor save. And he did not get it, so that's going to be 2 damage to the first guy. And then another hit on him. Got another 6. See if he rolls his armor. He does not, so that's 2 more damage to that guy. And then another one to that guy is a 2. That does nothing. Another one is a 4. So that's going to give him 1 damage, but he needs to roll his armor defense. And he did not get it. All right, so that guy is down. That guy is worth 35 points. Okay. So this 1 of 3 that we have to take down to move it. Oh, we got a... Wait. We got a 12 on the Holdback Darkness, and it was a 12. Okay. All right, so... That's right. We did do that. Okay. So we rolled the Holdback the Darkness roll. Okay, when the heroes make the Holdback the Darkness test each turn, if it is equal to or higher than the current position of the hero posse marker on the depth track, the assault is broken. All approaching enemy markers are removed, and no more enemies will arrive through the entry points. Okay, well, those tentacles are not arriving.